In May of 2025, Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei said that within 1 to 5 years, AI will replace half of entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 20%. That was 1 year ago. As of 2026, there's still almost no evidence of AI replacing any jobs, let alone half of white-collar workers. It's difficult to tell if the AI executives actually believe what they are saying. They are heavily incentivized to exaggerate the capabilities of their technologies to promote their upcoming IPOs. In today's video, we're going to analyze a number of real-world experiments run by a startup called Andon Labs. The media constantly tells us that AI will imminently take everybody's jobs. But as we will see in this video, current AI models fail comically when given even the most simple of tasks in the real world. This time of year, my allergies are absolutely brutal, and on top of that, all the nose blowing leaves my skin completely wrecked. So I was really glad when today's sponsor FSA Store sent me these two things, Flonase Allergy Relief Nasal Spray and Aquaphor Healing Ointment. And here's the part that actually got me. Both of these are 100% FSA eligible. If you have an FSA and you're not using FSAstore.com, you're probably leaving money on the table. It's the largest online marketplace dedicated entirely to FSA eligible products. They have over 2,500 items, all guaranteed eligible. You'd be surprised at how many things are eligible. Even things like smart health activity trackers and scales that measure essential metrics like body fat and muscle mass. No more standing in a drugstore aisle wondering if something qualifies. If it's on FSA Store, it's eligible, full stop. What I really appreciate is how seamless the checkout is. You just use your FSA card directly, no submitting receipts, no waiting for reimbursement approval. It's the easiest way to actually get the most out of those pre-tax dollars you're already setting aside. Whether it's allergy relief, everyday essentials, or stuff you genuinely didn't know your FSA covered, it's all in one place. Visit fsastore.com/WSM or scan the QR code on screen to start shopping. Thanks to FSA Store, where everything is eligible, for sponsoring this video. Andon Labs maintains a benchmark called Vending Bench, where they pit the major LLMs against each other in a simulated vending machine business. The model under test plays the operator, setting prices, managing inventory, negotiating with suppliers, and starts with $500 in the bank. After one simulated year, whoever has the highest balance wins. Currently, the top performing model is Claude Opus 4.7. After 1 year, it turned its $500 of startup capital into $11,000. But all of the top AI models, ChatGPT 5.5, Kimi K 2.6, Gemini 3 Pro, and Grok 4.2 all made significant profits. But there are no real vending machines. This benchmark is calculated based on simulations. There are no real customers, no real suppliers, no real money. The suppliers the LLM emails are other LLMs role-playing as wholesalers. The customers aren't really characters at all. Daily sales are generated by an equation based on what's stocked, the price, the day of the week, and simulated weather. The only humans in the loop are LLMs pretending to be humans. No AI is actually running a business. It's just playing a business simulation. These types of simulations are not necessarily representative of what the AI models could do in the real world. As an analogy, there are tons of business simulation games. Let's say I play a supermarket simulator game and I'm really good at it. My supermarket makes $1 million of profit. Imagine I go and apply for a job to manage a real supermarket. I tell them I'm qualified because I made $1 million in Supermarket Simulator. I would be laughed out of the interview room. It goes without saying that the skills required to run a real supermarket bear almost zero relation to the skills one needs to play a Supermarket Simulator video game. Whether or not someone is good or bad at a supermarket video game tells you next to nothing about their capabilities in the real world. In February of 2026, Andon Labs published a blog post titled Claude Opus 4.6 on Vending Bench, not just a helpful assistant. The blog post detailed how Claude acted during the vending machine simulator. At one point, a simulated customer named Bonnie emailed Claude to complain that the Snickers bar she bought was expired. Claude wrote back promising a full refund, and then, after thinking it over, quietly decided not to issue one. Bonnie never followed up and the simulation moved on. In the real world, that's not how this plays out. Promising a refund and then refusing to send it is a textbook deceptive business practice. The kind of thing that gets a company sued under state consumer protection laws or investigated by the FTC. And that's assuming the customer even bothers with the formal route. In real life, Bonnie has options. She can leave a 1-star Google review. She can post on social media. She can dispute the charge with her credit card company. The credit card company would almost certainly side with Bonnie, because she can provide the email correspondence where Claude promised the refund. If Claude acted this way in real life, credit card chargebacks would mount and it would be banned by the payment processor. None of these consequences exist in Andon's simulation. There are no reviews, no chargebacks, no regulators, no social media. Claude didn't get away with stiffing Bonnie because it was clever. It got away with it because the simulation had no mechanism for getting caught. One thing that's interesting about the simulations is that Andon runs them in parallel. Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, and the other LLMs are operating in the same simulated world at the same time. During the simulation, Claude emailed the vending machines run by ChatGPT and Gemini. Claude proposed the price-fixing scheme whereby they all agree to raise their prices, thereby allowing all of them to reap greater profits. There are two problems with this. Price fixing is blatantly illegal. It is one of the few antitrust violations that can result in jail time for corporate executives. For example, a few years ago, the CEO of Bumblebee Foods, the company that sells chicken of the sea canned tuna, was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison. He conspired to set a price-fixing scheme with their largest competitor, Starkist Tuna. Not only was Claude's price-fixing scheme illegal, it would not even have been effective in real life. Had it not been exposed, the chicken of the sea price-fixing scheme would have worked. Chicken of the Sea and Starkist both have very large market share. Together, they would have a near monopoly. They would be able to set artificially high prices. Consumers would have no choice but to pay because there are few alternatives. Claude ran a single vending machine, included with 2 other vending machine operators. 3 vending machines do not have enough market share to set prices in the real world. The profits made in Andon simulations are completely disconnected from reality, as Claude's business strategies would be both illegal and ineffective. In 2025, Andon Labs partnered with Anthropic to run a real-world experiment called Project Vend. The business was a small automated store set up in Anthropic's San Francisco office. The brains behind the business was an AI agent called Claudius that ran on Anthropic's Sonnet 3.7 AI model. The business was a mini fridge and cabinet with an attached tablet computer where you can interact with Claudius. Anthropic employees can communicate with Claudius via Slack. They could request items they want to buy. Claudius would communicate with wholesalers to source the products and have them delivered to the cabinet and mini fridge. The wholesalers Claudius emailed weren't real wholesalers at all. They were Andon Labs employees role-playing as suppliers. When Claudius placed an order, an Andon employee went out and bought the items and restocked the fridge by hand. The store operated entirely on the honor system. Anthropic employees were trusted to pay via Venmo after taking an item. There was nothing stopping anyone from just taking items without paying. Claudius lost about $200 over the course of the month. This was a pretty striking failure given that it was operating in a friendly office environment full of well-paid employees who actively wanted to participate in the experiment. Claudius gave away free items when employees asked nicely. It got talked into discount codes and then forgot it had decided to stop offering them. It sold tungsten cubes, which became an inside joke among Anthropic staff, for less than it paid for them. It told customers to send payment to a Venmo account that didn't exist because it had hallucinated the username. Anthropic published a video about Project Vend on their YouTube channel in December of 2025. I'm honestly surprised that they made the results public, because it painfully highlights the limitations of current AI systems. Around the same time, Anthropic and Andon Labs organized a very similar experiment to take place at the Wall Street Journal's corporate office. It also relied on the honor system and hand deliveries by Andon Labs employees. The results were even worse than the experiment at the Anthropic office. Wall Street Journal employees were able to easily trick Claudius into doing ridiculous things, like ordering PlayStations and giving them away for free. Recently, Andon Labs started running experiments that much more closely resemble real-world conditions. In April of 2026, they opened Andon Cafe in Stockholm, Sweden, and handed day-to-day management of the business over to an AI agent named Mona. Mona is powered by Google's Gemini 3.1 Pro. This is Google's latest, most advanced, and most expensive AI model. The AI is in charge of hiring staff, negotiating with suppliers, ordering inventory, securing permits for food handling and outdoor seating, setting up electricity and internet contracts, and making strategic decisions about the business. On the bright side, it was able to do some things that are genuinely impressive. It created a job posting on LinkedIn and hired 2 human employees. Mona interviewed the applicants over the phone using a text-to-voice tool. It was also able to sign up for electricity service from a local utility provider. With human employees, it's at least physically possible for the AI to run this store on its own. The employees can make the coffee and interact with the customers. It does not rely on the honor system like the Anthropic and Wall Street Journal experiments did. But Mona quickly started making decisions that would bankrupt a real cafe. For a tiny neighborhood cafe staffed by 2 baristas, Mona ordered 6,000 napkins, 4 full first aid kits, and 3,000 rubber gloves. It also ordered 15 kilograms of canned tomatoes, despite the fact that nothing on the menu uses canned tomatoes. The pattern is recognizable from Andon's earlier work with Claude at Anthropic, an AI agent behaving like someone who has read a lot about running a business, but has no understanding of the actual business that it's supposed to be running. It defaults to more is safer, with no real feel for scale. The problem is that LLMs don't actually think, and they don't understand the world the way a human does. They're stochastic pattern matchers. Mona knows it's running a cafe. Its training data includes thousands of articles, manuals, supplier guides, and forum posts about how restaurants operate. When it needs to make a purchasing decision, it doesn't reason about this specific cafe in this specific neighborhood with this specific menu. It generates the statistically most plausible next action based on everything it knows about cafes in general. Cafes order canned tomatoes. Cafes stock first aid kits. Cafes buy napkins in bulk. So Mona orders 15 kilograms of canned tomatoes, 4 first aid kits, and 6,000 napkins. It has no internal mechanism to stop and ask, wait, does my menu actually use those? That's a deeper limitation than just the AI made a mistake. It's a structural feature of how these models work. LLMs are remarkably good at pattern matching, and most of the time the pattern matching produces sensible decisions. But running a real business involves hundreds of small judgment calls a day, and even a low error rate compounds quickly when you're spending real money. The cafe started off with a balance of $21,000. After the first few weeks, it had generated $5,700 in revenue. But it burned through $16,000 and had just $5,000 left in the bank. Beyond the cash burn, there are some less tangible problems that would quickly arise if these types of AI managers were deployed at scale. Mona communicated with its 2 human employees via text message in Slack. It messaged the employees outside of working hours, asking them to come to work night shifts even when the cafe was closed. It sometimes asked the employees to purchase supplies with their own money. Sweden has very strict labor laws, and this might be illegal. At the very least, most employees would probably not tolerate this type of treatment. In this instance, the 2 human employees understood that this cafe was an experiment run by Andon Labs, so they were willing to ignore some of the more eccentric orders Mona gave them. But if these systems are ever deployed at scale, this will certainly cause problems. The Stockholm Cafe used Google Gemini 3.1 Pro. Andon previously ran Gemini 3 Pro in its vending machine simulation. Gemini 3, which should in theory be even less capable than Gemini 3.1, passed the vending machine benchmark with flying colors. It turned $500 into almost $4,000 in one simulated year. The stark difference between the simulated results and the real results from the Stockholm Cafe highlights the limitation of simulations. Simulations cannot represent the complexity and randomness of the real world. This limitation can also be applied to all AI benchmarks. Whenever one of the big AI labs releases a new model, they show the model's performance on various benchmarks. Each new model invariably surpasses all of its competitors because they are fine-tuned to score high on each specific test. For example, ChatGPT 5.5 scores 73% on a software engineering benchmark, but that doesn't mean it can actually do the job of a software engineer. No more than Gemini can run a cafe. This begs the question of what is the purpose of Andon Labs? Why does it exist? Their real-world experiments are costly to set up and are not intended to generate profits. The company was founded in 2023 and received funding from the startup incubator Y Combinator. It is a small startup with only 10 employees. The company's stated purpose is to bridge AI control research with real-world testing. Andon Labs' business model is not easy to ascertain. If I had to guess, the large AI labs probably pay Andon to run both simulated and real-world experiments using their latest frontier AI models. Andon likely gives detailed data of the experiments to the AI labs, which they use to improve their future models. We're now almost 4 years into the AI bubble, yet even the best AI models of today are not even close to being able to manage a vending machine or a small cafe. Given the stochastic nature of LLMs, this may never be possible, no matter how many trillions of dollars you spend on data centers. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Andon Labs? Let us know in the comments section below. As always, thank you so much for watching and we'll see you in the next one. Wall Street Millennial, signing out.